No, I didn't give up my husband's seat on a plane. Here's why.
Plus, update.
Am I the asshole for not giving up my husband's seat on a plane?
Petition to ban all. Am I the asshole for not giving up my seat on a plane posts? No, you aren't the asshole.
This happened to us while flying to France out of Raleigh. My husband and I had booked our aisle and middle seats together. While boarding, my husband got up to use the bathroom before the pre-flight announcements. As we double-checked our seat location, there was a woman, already sitting in the window seat of our row, with a baby. As soon as I put my purse in my seat to take off my sweater and settle in, her husband came over to sit in my husband's seat. He looked at me and said,
"Oh, I need to sit next to my wife and baby."
I responded, without moving out of his way, that it was my husband's seat, and he was in the bathroom. He said,
"Would you mind sitting in my seat?"
and proceeded to point all the way towards the back of the plane. I immediately responded, "I can speak on behalf of my husband, and that would be no." They both looked at me with confused looks on their faces, like I somehow didn't have a right to politely decline. Then they tried to get the flight attendant's attention, but as they did that, the person sitting directly behind the woman with the baby lifted herself up from her seat and said,
"If you knew you were flying with a baby, you should have made sure your seats were booked together."
They both looked at each other, then at the lady behind us, and blankly looked at me, while they mumbled something about trying to do just that, but couldn't for whatever reason. By then my husband was back, and hers had already walked away. My husband sat down, and I quietly told him what had just occurred, in case her husband might come back and ask him himself, or bring the flight attendant over, and he was glad I didn't let his seat go. With it being a long flight, and him having anxiety about flying, he definitely didn't want to be sent to the back of the plane alone, and I definitely didn't want to be alone, sitting next to a couple with a small baby for hours across the Atlantic. But I was even more appreciative of the woman behind us who spoke up, just because. Safe travels, everyone. Were we ashholes? The issue of whether or not we were came up recently, when extended family members made statements about how we could have been more considerate to that family when traveling. Update: after reading through comments, many, if not most, agree that we were not ashholes. Thanks.